What's up, everybody? Black Steve. So by now, everyone's actually heard about this Jussie Smollett, whatever his name is, Jussie. Everybody's heard about this story. But the reasons for this video is I want to make y'all think a little bit harder about what's going on. And, that's what I do. I try to give you guys a different perspective on some of these things and just, stimulate your mind in a different way than it has been being stimulated. So that's what this video is about. Basically, what I want people to take notice of is number one, obviously the guy is lying. And it's coming to the surface now that he's lying. There was no attack. This was all staged. And I wouldn't even call it a publicity stunt, because a publicity stunt means that you're doing this in order to garner some attention around something that you're trying to sell. For instance, like if a new movie or something like that was coming out, then you could say, okay, that was a publicity stunt, right? Thing is, there's no new movie as far as I know. There's no new TV show. He did try to promote some music, which was very weird because I heard the imagery in the music video that he was trying to promote actually has some lynching in it. But anyway, that brings me to the main point of this video and why you guys need to stay aware of stuff like this going on. And I posed the question in the title, how many Jussies are out there? How many people actually are doing the same type of things? And I'm going to refer to this as a psychological operation. It's not a publicity stunt. It's a psychological operation because this ties in and relates heavily to politics. So I actually got my breakfast here. As y'all see that I did in the last video, I'm all about this wheatgrass, so I drink it every morning. So if you guys go watch that video, get into wheatgrass. It's good stuff, good breakfast. Anyway, like I said, this Jussie thing is definitely a psychological operation in order to rile up Black people, to rile up the gay community, in order to get you guys votes to get behind a political cause. We can see from the thumbnail picture, the thumbnail wasn't working, so I'm gonna upload it and change it, so it'll probably be there by the time you see this video. But Jussie has ties to Kamala Harris. He has ties to Cory Booker. He has Obama's. So he has ties to all these Democrats, right? The thing about that is, right after and as this story was underway and coming out to the public, you saw these same Democrats pushing for a bill, and I believe it passed, a bill that would make lynching like a hate crime, for instance. It's kind of odd that at the same time this guy supposedly gets found with a lynch around his neck. So it definitely seems like that would kind of support their narrative of why lynching needs to be a hate crime. Black gay guy with a lynch around his neck claiming that he got beat up by two people wearing MAGA hats. This is ridiculous. But it's just blatantly obvious, the narrative that they're trying to force feed you. So that being said, the guy has ties to all of these Democrats who actually, are trying to get this anti-lynching bill passed. The thing I want to bring to you guys' attention, and a lot of people may not be aware of what's going on, but those of us that do kind of follow some of the alternative media sources and anonymous media sources, QAnon, things like that, to see what's kind of going on and know it for what it is. Basically, you know, these Democrats want to get lynching, and they want to make lynching illegal. And they're going to create these types of stories in order to get the Black and the gay community behind it and make it seem like it's about race. And in reality, none of this is about race. The larger picture here is that a lot of these Democrats, if, like I said, you follow the alternative media, a lot of these Democrats are conducting themselves in illegal ways. And they saw what we did to Saddam Hussein, and they don't want to have that same thing done to them. So because of that, they want to make lynching illegal now. And it's kind of funny that it comes out of left field with this lynching thing, even though lynching has not been an issue within our community in, a very long time. This is not something that's been in the news. Nobody's been getting lynched. It's kind of an old school thing that's part of our history that kind of just died away and nobody even talks about it. So now why are the Democrats actually pushing to make lynching a war crime, or not a war crime, a hate crime nowadays, when it's really not even going on? It's not something that is affecting us like that, our community. So you see, they use this puppet, this guy Jussie. He comes out, he creates this fake story. He says that he got beat up by people wearing MAGA hats in order to push their narrative. And if you don't believe that this is a psychological operation, psychological warfare on Black people because you're being manipulated, then you need to look a little bit deeper. You do just like a little Google search. You can find images of Jussie with Kamala Harris, Cory Booker, and all these other Democrats. So you can tell that he's in their pocket. So that's kind of the gist of what I wanted to bring you guys' attention to with this video. And a lot of people are connecting the dots already without me having to say these things. But I just want to put it in a larger scope and a grander concept for you guys to really soak it up and wake up to what's happening to you and how you're being manipulated. And that's why I posed the question, how many Jussie Smolletts are out there? I'm gonna call him Jussie Smollett, because that's what he's acting like. He's smutting himself for a gain. He's trying to get himself put on a pedestal to where he can expand his career into politics, I guess. Or maybe the money that they're offering him is just that great. Or maybe they always had him in the pocket, and that's the only reason why he ever appeared in front of us on a show like Empire, is because of his allegiance that he pledged to these people who are very demonic and creating false narratives to try to sway the population into votes for their own personal agendas, and to make sure that they're going to be okay and that bad things don't happen to them, even though some of them may be just and they may deserve it. So another thing I want to point out to people in the Black community and anybody watching this that nowadays would subscribe to the Democratic Party. As I've said in other videos, I do not subscribe to any of the parties. I believe that the party system is flawed nowadays, because you have bad people on both sides, and you have Republicans with Democratic views and Democrats with Republican views. So things are getting a little bit crazy in terms of the party system. But one thing that I do want people to realize, especially with an issue like this with Jussie, is that when it came time to for Black people to be looked at as equals, when it came time for Black people to get voting rights, when all of these things, these amendments were being brought to the surface and trying to get passed, the Democrats did not support any of this. So why is it that today that minorities and Black people are so, what's the word, allegiant and are so loyal to the Democratic Party when the Democratic Party was against ending slavery? They were against making Black people recognizing their rights as human beings. They were against giving Black people voting rights. The Democrats were against this. And you can look back in history, you can do your fact checking and see how the voting was done. The Democrats, majority of them did not vote for any of these issues at all. They voted against it. So they wanted to keep Black people in slavery. They wanted to not allow you to vote. They wanted to not recognize you as a human being. Now, flash forward till today, and all these Black people are so supportive of the Democratic Party, and it just doesn't make any sense. So these are the questions that we have to ask ourselves. Really, in my opinion, I think that, and I've said this before, that slavery never really ended. It just metamorphosized into a whole different beast that is much less recognizable with plain sight. Just looking around, and you think there's equality and stuff like that, but there are some systematic things that would make slavery still go on. And I think this is being facilitated by people like a lot of these Democrats who are forcing the narrative, putting these fake stories out, slaving out people like Jussie to do their biddings. And it's really a terrible thing that's going on, because now we have the population is confused about who is in their corner from the beginning. And people just believe that the Democrats are so pro-Black and they're pro-gay and they're these nice little libertarians, but they're just not. And like I said, if you look back at history, you will see that the Democrats opposed your freedom, they opposed your voting rights, and they opposed the thought that you as a Black person was even a human being. So that's all I wanted to say with this video. I wanted to really put all of those things together and kind of mash it up in a little way that hopefully it'll be absorbed and people can really think about the larger picture of what's going on here. I think that people are starting to wake up. I think that little by little people are starting to see and understand these things, because I think even just a couple of years ago, or just like before Donald Trump was president, this story, this Jussie Smollett story, would probably have been very viral and went on to create an unknown type of effect on our society, on the Black community, because you will be believing this false narrative. So I want to close with this, and I want to close with saying, please think hard and really go back in time and look at some of these other situations that have been popping up in the media. Some of the shootings, it's good to remain skeptical about anything nowadays, with how much manipulation that we have going on. It's good to remain skeptical about anything until you have the proper proof to back up whatever scenario is going down. So remain skeptical and ask yourself, how many Jussies are out there? That's all I got for you guys today. Thanks for stopping by. Make sure you hit that like button, and please subscribe if you haven't already. And of course, don't talk to me unless it's about topics I covered in this video or in prior videos.